The Chicago Bears have officially made their move. And it's a big one. On Monday, the news broke. And by Tuesday, it was done. Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind behind the Detroit Lions' explosive attack, is now the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. But with a fanbase eager for a winning season, the big question is, can Johnson turn this team around and deliver the playoff success the Bears have been craving for so long? When Johnson walked into Halas Hall on Tuesday, he was met with a raucous reception from the Bears staffers, giving him a warm welcome to his new home. With general manager Ryan Poles by his side, Johnson stepped into the building flanked by his family, his wife, Jessica, and their 3 kids, and immediately set the tone for his tenure. "This is exactly where we wanted to be," Johnson said, his voice full of passion and determination. "It's going to be a challenge, but we're ready." And fans, coaches, and players alike felt the weight of those words. The challenge is undeniable, taking a franchise that's struggled for years and building them into a contender in a tough NFC North division. But can he actually do it? Johnson's excitement was palpable. His vision for the Bears was clear, a focus on building a strong, cohesive locker room where the players feel supported and motivated. "It's gonna take this locker room," Johnson emphasized, "and it's going to take all of us in this room. If the Bears are going to turn things around, it's going to require unity, effort, and commitment from everyone in the organization." Now, let's not sugarcoat things. The Bears had a rough 2024 season. After starting strong at 4-2, they collapsed to a 5-12 finish. The struggles of rookie quarterback Caleb Williams were a major factor, as he showed flashes of brilliance but ultimately regressed toward the end of the season. The result? A coaching change, out with Matt Eberflus, and in with Ben Johnson. Enter Ben Johnson, widely regarded as one of the brightest offensive minds in the game. Johnson made a name for himself as Detroit's offensive coordinator, helping to turn the Lions' offense into one of the most explosive units in the NFL. Now, as the head coach of the Bears, he has his work cut out for him, most notably helping Caleb Williams take that next step. Despite his struggles, Williams showed why he was the #1 pick in the draft. 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, there's undeniable upside there. And pairing him with a coach like Johnson, who's known for developing young quarterbacks and crafting innovative offensive schemes, is exactly what the Bears need. Johnson knows the task ahead is no small feat. The NFC North is loaded, with teams like the Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, and of course, Johnson's former team, the Detroit Lions, all fighting for playoff spots. But the Bears have the pieces, they just need the right leader to unlock them. "The wins are gonna come," Johnson promised. And while that might sound like coach speak, it's hard to ignore the progress the Lions made under his watch. Now, the pressure is on to bring that same success to the Bears. Looking ahead, the Bears have the foundation they need: Williams, a solid offensive line, and plenty of potential at the skill positions. If Johnson can harness that talent, get the most out of his players, and keep the locker room tight-knit, the Bears could be well on their way to a winning season. Ben Johnson's arrival is the spark that Bears fans have been waiting for. There's a renewed sense of hope in Chicago, an energy that hasn't been felt in years. With Johnson at the helm, the question isn't, can he succeed? It's, how soon can he turn the Bears into contenders? So, can Ben Johnson deliver the turnaround the Bears have been craving? It's going to be a thrilling ride. But one thing's for sure, Bears fans are ready for this new chapter. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Well, looks like the Chicago Bears made a huge move to shake up their future. That's right, folks, Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind behind the Detroit Lions' explosive offense, is headed to the Windy City as the new head coach of the Bears. And let me tell you, this is big news, especially if you're a fan of one player in particular. Yep, I'm talking about none other than the highly anticipated first overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. Caleb Williams. With Johnson's arrival, Williams' future just got a whole lot brighter. But hold on, we've got so much to unpack here. So let's dive in. 1. The Bears' new era. Ben Johnson takes over. First off, let's talk about the move that sent shockwaves through the NFL. Ben Johnson leaving the Detroit Lions to become the Chicago Bears' new head coach. This hire was a fast one. Reports say the deal is being finalized, And the Bears didn't waste any time after the Lions were knocked out by the Washington Commanders in the divisional round. Johnson, at just 38 years old, has been an absolute rocket through the NFL coaching ranks. Johnson started his career on the Miami Dolphins staff, where he worked under Dan Campbell, the same Dan Campbell who now coaches the Lions. After making a name for himself there, Johnson joined the Lions, climbing the coaching ladder from quality control coach all the way to offensive coordinator. And in just 3 years running Detroit's offense, he became one of the hottest names in the league for a head coach gig. 2. What this means for Caleb Williams. Now, why does this matter so much for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Well, let's break it down. Williams had a rocky start to his NFL career in his rookie season. He showed flashes of the talent that made him the #1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. But let's face it, he was stuck with a coaching staff that just couldn't seem to figure it out. Matt Eberflus was fired after that ugly Thanksgiving loss to the Lions, and suddenly, a massive opportunity opened up for the Bears to make a change. And who better to help Williams reach his full potential than Ben Johnson? Let's be honest, this is exactly the kind of hire Chicago needed. Johnson's offensive brilliance with the Lions is undeniable. Under his guidance, Jared Goff turned into a top-tier quarterback, and the Lions' offense was absolutely dominant this past season, scoring the most points in the NFL and finishing with a 15-2 record. 3. Johnson's impact in Detroit. What Bears fans can expect. Now, I know what you're thinking. What makes Ben Johnson so special? Well, let's take a look at what he did in Detroit. Under Johnson's leadership, the Lions were a dual threat. The offense was balanced, excelling both in the air and on the ground. Jared Goff, who many thought was washed up, was suddenly lighting it up under Johnson's system. Goff had a career year, throwing for over 4.500 yards and 40 touchdowns. And Johnson was able to do this with a talented but not always star-studded roster. Now imagine what he could do with a guy like Caleb Williams, who has all the tools to be a star. We've seen flashes of his potential. And now with Johnson's guidance, I fully believe we're going to see a much more polished version of Williams in year 2. The Bears have a solid group of offensive weapons too, DJ Moore, Rome Oduns, and other pieces that Johnson can mold into something special. 4. The big competition. Why the Bears had to act fast. Let's talk about why the Bears had to pull the trigger so quickly on this hire. Johnson wasn't just sitting around waiting for a job offer. Oh no. Teams like the Las Vegas Raiders were also eyeing him. And Chicago knew that if they didn't make their move fast, they could lose him to another team. The Bears were able to lock down Johnson less than 48 hours after the Lions' season ended. Which, let's be honest, is impressive, but they had to act quick because, as you can imagine, Ben Johnson's name was in high demand. 5. Is Johnson ready to be a head coach? Host, with a bit of mystery. Now, of course, we have to ask, can Ben Johnson make the leap to being a successful head coach? After all, being an offensive coordinator is very different from running an entire team. Johnson has only been a coordinator for 3 seasons, but his track record speaks for itself. He's worked with a variety of quarterbacks and offensive systems. And if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he knows offense. But will he be able to balance all the responsibilities of being a head coach? Time will tell, but the talent and potential are there. If anyone can make that transition, it's Ben Johnson. And if there's any quarterback that can benefit from Johnson's experience, it's Caleb Williams. 6. What's next for the Chicago Bears? So what's next for the Bears? Well, they've got a big offseason ahead. The hire of Ben Johnson is the first step in turning things around. Chicago has big expectations, and with a guy like Johnson in charge, those expectations just became a lot more realistic.